All right.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. You know what day it is.
Right,
Water
right.
Cooler
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It's that water cooler Wednesday, and we're so
That's
excited to be here. Right. Every Wednesday we come here just to talk to you guys and share some new information every week at 6
every
p.m.
week.
Right. And we're excited. Some, maybe one day we might take a vacation. But
But for the
for now
most
you have
part,
us all the
we're
time.
here. That's
Right.
right.
Right. Right. So
So, Dion, what do you think we should talk about today?
yeah, today we're gonna talk about those top five closing delays. So because the worst thing is that people are so excited about buying a house, and then all of a sudden we give them a closing date, and they're like, "Well, why am I not closing? You gave me a
You mean
date. Why
closings
am I?"
actually get delayed?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They do.
What?
Yeah. So we always try to make them move as quickly as possible, but I think the most part, the closing date is only an estimated date.
It
It's
is.
not the actual date that you're gonna close.
I would
All right.
definitely agree with that. It's
Yeah.
a
And I
target
think,
date, but it's kind of a moving target. It
yeah,
might
yeah.
change.
Right. We like to get it before the date or close to the date, but
Yes.
sometimes, it has to delay a little bit. So
Sometimes it's after the date. Sometimes it's 37 days after the date.
we hope
But we're
not.
not going to talk about that right now.
Right, right. So let's talk about delay number one.
Okay.
Delay number one is the missing and outdated buyer documents. All right.
Okay.
So I think we talk about this all the time.
We do.
When right, we say it all the time. When Lisa gives you a pre-approval and we find the house and she starts to ask you for documents, the best thing to do is to give her those documents
Right.
ASAP.
ASAP.
Right,
Yes.
right.
I'm your daddy. You hear me? When it's time for these documents, I need that stuff and I need it right now.
Right. Yes,
Because the
right.
thing is, we can only move as quickly as documents move. And as much as you may say, oh, I already said that, or oh, I thought she only needed this, or oh, I shouldn't have to give that. As much as you say all of those things, it don't matter because guess what? The loan is still not going to move until we have those documents.
Yeah, yeah. So you may not think that you need the back page of the banking statement,
Yes,
but
that's
you do.
always classic.
Right.
Yes.
But you do.
You may not
It
think
makes
you need
no
the
sense
one
to
that
me
says
either.
intentionally left blank. People think they don't need to include that one. But
Yeah,
it's part of
yeah.
the bank statement. We do need it. Yes, we definitely do.
And I get it. I get it as like a layman, I'm like, what you need the back page for? But she does. She does. So just give
It's
it
an
to
ancient underwriter's secret.
her.
Can't tell you why. Just can tell you that we need it.
Right, just give it to her. Right. If you get
Right,
those
just give it to
documents,
us.
right, just give them to her. Whatever she asks for to give to her, then you wouldn't be asking us why is there a delay. Well, you took a
Right.
whole week in order for you to give her the documents that she needed. So of course that's a week delay.
Yep.
Right.
Here's
Don't
something
think
else that can cause a problem. Um, changes that you make in the loan transaction. So this wasn't with you, Dion, but I literally just had this happen. We closed on the file today, finally. However, during the transaction, the second borrower decided, I'm going to quit my job. I don't like
What?
it here anymore. I think I just want to do my own thing. She's
In the
got her
middle
own
of the
thing.
purchasing of a
In
house.
the middle of the transaction. Yes. So, needless to say, it caused a delay.
Yeah.
Yep. We did get it closed. We ultimately got it closed. That's house money mama do. We close loans. But yes, that was not an easy thing to have to go through. And not just for me, but it was an easy thing, obviously for the buyer, the person who was buying the homes. Difficult for them as well. But yes, changing things, like changing jobs or deciding that I'm going to go from a W-2 employee to a self-employed 1099 person. All of those things can have a very negative impact on your transaction. It could potentially, more than just delay, actually something, any other case that could have potentially been a denial for the loan.
Mm,
Fortunately, we were able to make it work. But
right.
yeah.
I think what the communication is critical, right? Making sure that you're available um when the lender or the underwriter may have questions. You need to make sure that you're available. Make sure you communicate that, oh, I don't get off until 3 o'clock and I won't be available until that time. Or just
Hmm.
making sure that you communicate with the lender when they're asking questions and trying to.
Uh-oh, you're frozen. Are you still talking? Mm. Okay, I got you back.
Yeah, I'm like, did you continue without me?
No. I
Let's
really
get.
wasn't sure if it was you that was going or if it was me. So at first I was talking, and I said, well, that won't be good if we're both talking at the same time. So then I got quiet.
Uh,
That is funny.
right. Sorry,
With
guys.
more
Technology.
evidence that we are live. Just more
Right.
evidence.
Right.
If you all are not
Tech,
sure if we live, this should be a pretty good indication.
yeah. Technology doesn't always want to work and be your friend. So,
Right.
but
You know what? I thought about something else too, as far as a delay for closing, because I've had
hmm
this happen as well. Verbal verification of employment.
oh yeah.
So people don't think it's that important, but when I ask you for, like, hey, I need you to give, because I always do this at the very beginning of the transaction. If you had a problem with your paycheck, who would you talk to? Give me that person's information because I'm going to need to verify your employment with them. And people are, oh, you just call my manager. No, I can't. I need somebody in HR or payroll. So you need to give me somebody I can talk to. Somebody's going to pick up their phone or answer
hmm
and respond to their email within a timely fashion. Surprisingly enough, I actually had a loan, I want to say last year, where the gentleman took like 3 days to respond to my request for verification of employment. And I was like, you work in HR. Now I know good and well you're expected to have a faster time frame than that as far as turning things around. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's one
So
thing that could also have an impact too.
definitely for sure. Definitely for sure. Let's talk about the appraisal issues that could come up.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of
Let's talk
times,
about it.
yep, yep, yep. So sometimes sometimes people want to order the appraisal late, and it's
Hmm.
understood, right? Because you might have some issues with the home inspection and you want to make sure that the home inspection is going well. And
Yeah.
the things that the repairs that you want completed are agreed upon during the attorney review period. So you might go ahead and delay actually getting your appraisal because you don't want to give additional $700 to a transaction
Right.
that might end, right? And that's understandable.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. But in the
Right.
grand scheme of things, that could actually end up causing more because I think one of the things that people don't really keep in mind is that there's no guarantee that a seller will extend. They're not obligated to,
Yeah.
and granted, everybody has some level of skin in the game once you start a transaction, but nobody is nobody has to continue with the transaction. If you are legally about to be out of contract, they can just let the contract lapse and then say, okay,
Yeah.
well, no, I don't, I'm no longer bound to what we agreed upon, 21 days ago or whatever it was. So yeah, we're just gonna do something different. Or they could even come back to you with a whole different contract, right? Say, well, we didn't close, so now I want to sell you the house for this amount, something like that. I haven't seen it happen, but I mean, theoretically, it could.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what happens a lot of times when in a situation like that I see is that the seller it has another contract, they have a contract to
Mhm.
buy a house, and so they're nervous as
Yes.
far as if you're actually going to be able to close the deal, so they don't want to keep extending,
Right.
and then that delays them from actually being able to get the property that they want. So
Right. Yep. Yep. I'm sure you see that because, you get to represent the seller. So you kind of hear, what their concerns and, they express how the transaction is going from their perspective. So,
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So there's
are-
definitely um, a concern there. So even with the appraisal, maybe sometimes they come back lower in price.
yep. Lower
Yeah,
value.
yeah. So then
Possible.
what? Huh?
I said,
Say it
that's
again.
possible.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes that would mean that the we would have to go back and renegotiate, right?
Yep.
So they may expect you to pay the higher price because that's what you offered, and so because your lender is not going to cover it, let's say the loan, the bank, the mortgage company, you offer 180 and they only appraise the property at 170, so then that's
Hmm.
$10,000 difference, and the
Yep.
seller could want you to cover that 10,000
Yep.
cash, right?
Yes. And that'll reflect in your cash to close. So now if I told you, oh, you only need to have $6,435 at closing. Well, now it's going to be $16,435 at closing because you'll
Yeah.
have to make up for the amount that you would end up paying over because of the appraisal value being lower.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of times we go back and we just like renegotiate, and just say,
Mhm.
hey, we can't pay that extra 10,000. But what also is possible is that your credits that you may have gotten. So, say for instance, they were going to give you $10,000 credit towards your
Oh,
closing
yeah,
costs.
they could take that. Yeah.
They could take that and say, okay, well, the price didn't value at 185, so I don't really want to give you additional $10,000
Hmm.
credit towards your closing costs, right?
Yeah. Yep, that's true. That's another way to negotiate it so everybody can still have the deal consummate. That's absolutely
Hmm.
true. I know we have stuff that happens with appraisals, but we also actually have stuff that happens with title insurance. So like title, I'm going to talk about this one because we just had a transaction that had something like this happen.
Wonderful
So
title.
really, yes, the title. And the reason why I'm going to mention specifically this transaction is because of the fact that it's the perfect example of when people don't do the parts they're supposed to in a timely fashion. So this really applies to everybody, not just you as the buyer, but it applies to the seller. It applies to the title company. We've seen sellers where they did in the south suburbs, they didn't get the inspection done, the what do you call it, village inspection. They didn't get
Mm-hmm.
that done to the last minute. Now we got this huge laundry list of things that the village wants done in order for them to issue a certificate of occupancy. And what does that do? Delay
Delay.
closing.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. But the title company, in and of itself, if they don't start doing their part right away, that can be a problem too. Like we just had a situation where one of our customers, we were all clear on everything else for the loan, and then the title company, the day of closing, came back and said, "Oh, you have a $4,500 debt with Illinois Department of Revenue that you need to pay in order for us to issue this title policy."
Yeah.
What?
Big surprise. Big surprise.
Yes, it was a bit. It was a big. Well, I don't know how surprised she was because I don't know if she
Right.
knew or not. And then you also realistically, I'm just going to be frank. IRS and Illinois Department of Revenue, they'll stalk you for years. So you don't even really know how serious they are until they start sending you stuff saying they can put a lien on your house or they're about to offset your taxes.
Right.
you know. So maybe she didn't know how serious it was. They could actually stop her from buying a house. But yes, that $4,500 definitely did. And unfortunately, in the way this happened, it came up the day of closing. And really, I think that if the title company had done, all of the part that they were supposed to do as far as the search and things like that, that they probably would have known. I don't think IDOR was hiding that information. So I think they probably would have known sooner to let us know before we got to the closing table.
Yeah.
So title
Yeah.
issues can actually end up preventing a closing or at least delaying a closing.
Yeah. And that's why you got to have a great team behind you because boy, that team went to shuffling and do. I said, "Woo, they working over there."
That's fun. You said they.
Right. Right. Right.
Right. So, well,
So
that's true though. 'Cause Matt was all in that. Me
yeah.
and Matt was back and forth tag teaming. The people at the title company, the person who ended up handling the closing person, she did her part as well. So it did take all of us. But it's what we always say to you guys: prepare. Do everything as up front. Everything you do up front, do it up front.
Do it up front. Right. So
Yep.
and then a lot of times it's good for you to this is your lender. You know some things that they might not know or may not discover. And you might be thinking, oh, I'm getting away with it, or maybe it's not important for me to share. But sometimes
Right.
it might be okay for you to share, especially the fact that you're thinking about quitting your job, right? Like, don't do that. You're in the purchase,
Right.
you're in the biggest purchase of your life. Don't do that.
Biggest.
And even if you get
Yes.
fired, I've had the opportunity to get to the day before closing, doing the job verification, same thing, and then the person said, "Oh, I didn't think it mattered that you
What?
don't have a job."
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
she didn't have a job.
I'm not going to ask who didn't think that mattered, but okay. Maybe they had
So
some other kind of income.
right. So it is all of us, right? All of us is important. I think she started a new job like right away because we were able to close. It did,
Okay.
but the fact that we were closing the next day and they did a job verification and was like, no, she's not even
Yeah.
working. So that was
So what
definitely
about on the seller side? Because they have some things to do for title as well, right?
yeah, and it's a big it's an important thing as a seller. After the home inspection, you get a list of repairs that need to be done. You, in some of the cities, suburban cities, they do their own inspection. They provide you a list of items that need to be completed.
Mm-hmm.
So the long with you delaying those things, a transaction normally takes about 30 days, right? So a typical
Mm-hmm.
transaction could take 30 days. in the first 5 days, we're doing the home inspection. That's 25 days
Yeah.
to get those things done. Don't wait
Yep.
to day 22
Right.
to do them.
Right. Right. That's an
So
easy way to not be prepared. Yeah.
yeah, you know,
Because who's to say if after the, quote unquote, repair that there isn't still something else that needs to be done. I know for a fact that you guys have said, hey, the seller told us that they were going to do this, and that, and they ain't done nothing. You go back
nah,
the day before closing or the day of closing just to find out that they haven't done what they were supposed to do.
yeah.
Now, that's
And
definitely going to delay closing.
right. And then I think also the worst is to go to a property and doing the final walkthrough and there's items still in the house as if
Hmm.
they haven't moved yet. Like, are the closing is tomorrow. Are you moving? Like, look, scratch your
Right.
head like
I guess we're about to inherit a lot of stuff.
right, right. I know my clients had a car. They had a car in the garage, and they kept going. We get the car? Do we get the car? I'm like, I don't think so.
I mean, technically, they own the house, so
Right, but I
that's
mean, they
debatable.
right. They got the car right in enough time, but they were counting on that car. They was like, hey, we get that car.
Okay.
So,
I like that.
so, so remove your personal items promptly, right? Before closing.
Move them promptly. Right.
Hmm. Yep.
Absolutely.
I
That's
think the
good.
other thing
So, go
is
ahead.
liens. We talked about IRS on the buyer side,
Yeah.
but you can have liens on the seller side.
Mm-hmm. And they
Yeah.
could be from like Department of Revenue, or they could be from a mechanic or a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You
Yeah.
have anything like that? That's going to prevent us from getting clear title. Absolutely.
Yeah. So those are definitely some things from the seller side that can really affect the
Yep.
transaction and the closing date.
So I know earlier I said title and insurance. So insurance is one of those things that I've actually had people where, when we're doing a transaction, they're like, oh, I need to get insurance. Yeah. Like, we
Hmm.
won't let you close without it. Yes, you
Right.
absolutely need insurance. But because there's so many other things going on, God bless their hearts. I don't blame them because there's so many other things going on. You got to schedule a home inspection. You need to pay the money for the appraisal. Now you got to wait and see, when the appraisals come back. Lisa's asking you to update documents. All these different things are going on, and then you're thinking about, okay, do I go ahead and put in what do you call it, an address for it? Like what you thinking about all
Hmm.
the things in
All these
preparation to
things,
move
right?
as well.
When do I
Yeah,
turn my lights on? When
right,
and some people forget
right.
to even
Which
turn their lights on, but
yes, yes, yes. I can see all those different kind of things. So sometimes people don't even really think about, oh, I do need to pick out, an insurance carrier or provider and, decide who I'm going to go with. And you want to have an accurate quote. You don't want to say, hey, I'm looking for a house in Chicago. You want that quote to be tied to the actual property so it can be accurate, because what you don't want is to end up coming back with the real quote and now it's a
Mhm.
thousand dollars more per year or something
Yeah,
like that. And then, for me, depending on how tight your ratios are, that might raise your debt to income ratio enough high enough where it actually disqualifies you.
yeah, and I think I've seen that a couple of times because I didn't even realize that insurance was your quote was based on a lot of different things, right? So I know it was
Hmm.
based on the maybe your neighborhood, your community, things like that, but your
Yeah.
credit score affects
Yep.
your insurance
Yep.
rate as well, which I had no clue of that. I was like, wow. And so, like Lisa
And the
said,
history on the house itself. That's why they want an address, because
yeah,
they pull records in their insurance database, I guess, whatever, on the history of the house itself. Were there claims and things like, the roof got replaced or they,
Yeah, yeah,
different things that might have happened. They're looking at all that different stuff when they give you a quote.
yeah. So just recently, recent transaction just closed.
Hmm.
They did two claims on the roof prior to the purchase, before my clients were purchasing the house.
Okay. Hmm.
Why was the roof called on the home inspection and the village inspection?
Did the claims close?
Claims closed.
Hmm.
So now they said that they would only insure the roof for like 80%, not 100%, right? Because there's already been
Hmm.
two claims on the roof. And you're
Yeah.
saying that, and you're telling us that this roof is not new. So what you do as a seller affects the buyer, right?
Hmm.
You're deciding that, oh, I'm gonna take some money out for this roof, and I'm actually not gonna get the roof repaired, and I'm gonna use the money somewhere else. But now the insurance companies are expecting a new roof on your house, and so now the buyer is affected by that. So
That's what that was my question. Did the claims close? Because usually they don't close the claim until they verify that the work has been done. Because people will do that. They'll get the money from the claim. They'll go spend money on something else, but the claim will actually still be open. It's not closed, I don't think, until the insurance company verifies the work.
well, I'm
So I
not
don't know
sure
if they
they
got up there and did it themselves or what.
right.
Because it sounded
Yeah.
like it was a shabby job.
Yeah, because the roof. I mean, we went in understanding that the roof needed that a new roof was needed, right? So the offer was, understood that the buyers were like, okay, we know that eventually we'll new roof. But now when she's trying to get insurance and they're calling the roof out as an issue and expecting a new roof, now it's a different issue, different reason for a delay, right? Because
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know, because now they're saying, "Oh, wait a minute, I don't want to take on a house that you know is not fully insured because
Mhm.
someone else's claims."
Right. But like you said, what the seller does has an impact on the buyer. And I think
Yeah,
that's just a big lesson for everybody to have in general. A lot of times in our real estate transactions, people only see things from their perspective.
yeah,
Um, the seller sees it from their perspective, the buyer sees it from their perspective, the title company sees it from their perspective, whatever. But everybody needs to consider that there are other people that are affected and impacted by the transaction just like you are, but obviously in different ways. And so what you do that can impact the other people in the transaction. So
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
good point.
Right. So, hey, Stacy, thanks for joining us. You said that's deal breaker stuff for real, right?
Okay. That
So,
is some breaking stuff. That's
but yeah,
funny.
so we had our half an hour and we definitely covered a
Yep.
lot of different topics that will affect the deal delay. But when you have a
Yeah.
good team behind you and we're working diligently to get you through the transaction, unfortunately,
Yep.
sometimes there may be a little delay. But
Yep.
we're going to push through and try to get you through it. So we just need you to do your part and we will do ours.
Good. And just like everything that we mentioned today, even though these are like real life things that actually have happened, these have been our experience, but with each and every one of them, we still got to the closing table.
We did. All right.
Yep.
So if you're looking for a lender, want to go ahead, start get pre-approved because we talk about this all the time. Lisa's the first thing. We got to get
Start with.
pre-approved first. So contact Lisa. That's her number. You can ask her any questions about lending and the steps and process that you need to take, or you could also look at one of our past videos and talk. But
Yeah.
we want you to contact us, right?
Yes,
and
we do.
then and then you can also give me a call, and if we can talk about making a plan for you to be able to purchase your home. Maybe you're not ready right now, and maybe you have some credit issues, or let me connect you with my team and the people that can help you get to your goal, your destination. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Good
Thank
deal. All
you.
right, we got another one. Another water cooler Wednesday.
See you
Thank
next
you so
week.
much for joining us. Thank you. That was a great comment, Stacy.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.